Are you jealous of all those fancy people that go out for brunch and eat quiche? Well, you don't have to be jealous anymore because I am making you a healthy version of quiche. And it is delicious. All simple ingredients. With their champagne and all this, well, I can do champagne too. It's a little different, it doesn't have quite the same effect, but hey. Hey everybody, this is Dylan. I am making another whole plant food recipe for you today without any added salt, oil, and sugar. This one is a little bit fancier than my previous videos because it does have a couple of steps, but it's a whole plant food quiche. None of the BS in this quiche. It's really delicious. It's still very simple, but it does take a couple of steps, so it's great for doing on the weekend. We did this in my live cooking show, Well Your Weekend, so you can sign up for that if you want to learn more. There's a link down below. Let's get right to it. The first thing I want to do is prep some polenta. We just have some regular yellow cornmeal and we're gonna boil it in some water, simmer it on the stove, and boom, that's the first step. Let's do it. All right, first things first, I've got a few cups of water on the stove. Don't worry about the numbers. We'll have the recipe link down below. It'll take you to our fancy website where we've got a couple pictures, the whole description and the recipe and everything. Do check it out. But we've got some boiling water and I'm going to whisk, because you wanna whisk in the polenta because it can get a little chunky. So if you whisk it in, you'll stop it from clumping so much, just like that. And then heat this back up to a boil. I'm also gonna throw in, there's a little bit of Italian seasoning right here. We're gonna whisk that in as well. It's gonna give it a nice flavor. I've just got it on pretty low and I'm just gonna let it sort of sit here and stir it every couple of minutes. And it's pretty simple stuff. Okay, we've let the polenta simmer. It's getting nice and thick, as you can see. We're ready to let it set. So I'm just gonna take a regular old pie plate like this and let's dump in our polenta. Oh, looking good. Get it all in there and we'll lay it out nice and even and just let it cool. All right, y'all, it's already like getting real thick and setting up. So once you pour it in, just let it sort of level itself out. You can help it along with the spatula a bit, but this looks pretty good. You can also put this in the fridge if you want to speed the process along, but once it cools, it should harden nicely into a nice firm layer for our quiche. All right, step one is complete. Step two is very simple. Also, we're gonna use our food processor for this, but if you don't have one, you can use a potato masher or something like that. It does not have to be perfect. Very forgiving recipe, much like all of our recipes. I have here a block of extra firm tofu. I didn't press it or anything. I just went with the extra firm. Break it up a little bit and throw it in the food processor. All right, along with our tofu, I'm gonna add a little bit of rice vinegar, some nutritional yeast. Yes, this is the Well Your World nutritional yeast. Some minced cheddar garlic, a little bit of our secret ingredient, some ground nutmeg. We're doing ours fresh here, pretty fancy. It's brunch after all, isn't it? And finally, I almost forgot, I've got some fresh basil leaves. This is delicious with fresh. You could use dry and it'll be just fine, but throw in a nice handful of these basil leaves. And then let's give this a buzz. Don't overdo it. You don't want to make it totally creamy, but let's see what happens. I'll start by just kind of pulsing it a little bit. Let's throw in a little more basil. That looks really good, but I want a little more basil. Then you can scrape down the sides a little bit, and let's give it a little bit more. I think we're in pretty good shape. I'm just going to scoop this all out. Look, it's still nice and coarse. We're just gonna scoop this into a mixing bowl, and we'll add our veggies. Our last step we're gonna add to this here in a few minutes. This is working too well. This must have been the quick polenta or something like that, the quick cornmeal, because it is firming up so much faster than I remember this happening before. So maybe I accidentally bought the quick stuff. Either way, it works great. We are going to do a little saute. I'm just gonna do it right into the pan. It's not even a hot pan because all that doesn't really matter. We're just going to chop. Half the time when I'm cooking, I just don't want to use an extra bowl. So I just bring the pan over here, start chopping, boom, boom, boom. Here we go. Just throw it in a cold pan, it'll heat up. Am I wrong? I'm not a chef. You guys know I'm not a chef. But I can chop better than one. Oh. Mushrooms are ready, but I lied. I do need one more container because leeks are so hard to get all the dirt out, so I usually chop the leeks into the colander, then I rinse them, then I'll put them in there. Does that make sense? So we've got a couple of big, beautiful leeks. Let's chop the bottom off and chop the top right here. We're gonna throw all those out. and take out probably the outside layer. And we're gonna use mostly this white part, but I like to use a little bit of green. It's good color and it still tastes good. So I'll chop a little more off of here. And then I'll just chop this baby in half, lengthwise like that. And you can see there's quite a bit of dirt in here. So that's why I chop it first and then colander it. You can chop this if you want them to be even smaller pieces. You can chop it lengthwise again, but for me, it don't matter. And then just run through them with your knife, just like that. And then throw these in the colander and we'll give them a rinse so we can get all of the dirt out. Check out this ASMR. Pretty good, huh? Throw them in with our shrooms. And if you don't want to use leeks, by the way, you can just use an onion. Whoop-de-doo. You can use a shallot. You can use leeks. You can just throw in some more garlic. But next, we're doing a couple of little zucchinis. Take off the top, take off the bottom, cut it lengthwise, and let's just chop this baby. None of it has to be very uniform and perfect, but we'll take this one and make it even smaller like that. And let's go back to the stove. Back at the stove we are, and this, as you can hear, is just heating up. I just set the pan on and heated it up from room temp. Wow, what a sin in the kitchen. Throw in a little water, and we are just sauteing these veggies. We're gonna get them nice and tender, and that's it. Step complete. You can do this with a little bit of broth. You saw me do it with a little bit of hot water. But all we're doing is cooking them, shrinking them, getting some of the water out, making them nice and tender and delicious. Ready for some pepper? You don't want to forget the black pepper.
How can you forget it when it's in a thing like that?
I think we stole this from Macaroni Grill when I was like 18 years old, and I still have it. Should I have admitted that on film? Probably not. Look at how nice these veggies look.
Oh, it smells good.
Oh yeah, it smells good. This is looking pretty good. I only cooked it for a few minutes just to get everything nice and tender. I'm not turning it into total mush, you know what I mean? It's ready to go. Look how beautiful. Here we go. I've got my bowl with the tofu mixture in there, and I'm just gonna dump all of these beautiful vegetables right in. Just turn all this together. Give it a nice mix. This tofu is gonna harden up really nicely when we bake this all together, and it's gonna give it sort of that eggy consistency, you know what I mean? But no eggs here. How's that looking? Pretty good, hey Reeves?
Oh my god, it looks amazing.
Does it not smell delicious? This thing has adequately set up. It is like a nice, firm, gelatinous ball. And all I'm going to do is dump this beautiful mixture right on top. Oh boy. I'm just smoothing this out really nicely. As you can see, it is very full. Okay, this baby is almost all ready to go. I wanna do a couple more things to add that flavor and make it even prettier. One is we've got some fresh herbs here. I've got a little bit of parsley. I've got some oregano and a little bit of rosemary. I grew this myself, but not these. And so let's just grab a little bit of that fresh herbaceousness. Get rid of some of these stems of the oregano. Let's chop all that up. Only one way to chop, and it's till you drop. Take some of those fresh chopped herbs, sprinkle them on top just like that. Of course, you can just cook with your veggies dry herbs if you don't have the fresh stuff to do it all fancy like this. But you know, got tomato, and we're just going to slice up some tomato. Dress it up whatever way you like. It doesn't matter. Boom. I think it's gorgeous. That's pretty. Bang, bam, bam, bam. Cover this baby up, and we are ready to bake. Okay, it's been almost like 45 minutes or so. I think I'm gonna take the top off of this thing so this tomatoes and everything on top can get a little bit cooked. Let's pull it off. Oh, look at that thing bubbling away. Another, I don't know, 10. We'll give it 10. Let's watch it. Let's watch it. Okay, let's take this thing out. Who is ready for some quiche? I let it cool a little bit this time because you want the tofu to firm up a little bit because it's gonna make it extra quiche-y. Are you ready to open this thing up, Reebs? Oh, it's firm and perfect. Oh yeah, look at how nice that is. It worked, y'all. This beautiful quiche. Here we go. I think you're really gonna like it. Could be hotter.
Oh wow, that's so good.
It's good, huh?
I love the mushrooms.
The polenta.
I love the herbs. I'd put a little more nooch, I think.
You could definitely add some nooch to the recipe to mix in with the tofu. I think that'd be a great idea. Hope you like this one. There's a little blog post link down below. You can click that with the recipe, some photos, all that good
We're in the
stuff.
big leagues now.
We're pretty legit. Click right here for another video like this one, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.